SiriusXM. Yeah, this is the Opie and Anthony Show.
We got Kevin Smith in studio. Got a dummy on Twitter. Or a dummy on instant feedback. He writes, hey, yo.
Both.
He goes, Kevin Smith for what, 20 minutes now? Kareem in studio? I mean, come on, dude. I know you don't care anymore, but this is crazy. I was just getting into Kevin Smith. He hasn't been on in a long time.
What an asshole.
What an idiot that's
right here.
Kevin's mic has to be on.
What an idiot.
Can I join?
Of course, Kevin came in at 8, and we had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar at 8:30, so you got to stop everything to talk to Kareem for a while, and then knowing we're going to go back to Kevin.
Aside for a legend. You know what I'm saying? That man's a living legend. And we were just talking about in the break, this is a dude who, when you watch him, he has the quiet grace of one of the lucky few whose dream came true beyond measure. And then he eventually had to put it down and start a whole new life. You know, you always look at people that like, oh, they wanted to do this and they got it. But then they say that athletes and beautiful women die two deaths. And, you know, because sooner or later, that thing that fuels you, you got to give up. Right. So it's amazing to watch a dude sit there with quiet, statesman-like grace. Know that he achieved his dream and eventually had to put it on a shelf.
His amazing career ended at 42.
Yeah.
That is so fucking young. You start realizing when you get a little older.
He's been out for 20
And
years.
when he talked about it, he was playing, that's why I was asking, what grade did you start playing?
Fourth grade.
He's fourth grade. Fourth grade, and like, you know, who knows when the dreams of playing pro start
Oh,
setting
no.
in.
By ninth grade, I read a lot on Lou Alcindor when he was Lou Alcindor back
That's
then.
what I wanted to ask, too. When I was a kid, I had these little, like, I don't know what it was called. It was this, like, I think Kenner or Hasbro made it, or Mattel. It looked like a walkie-talkie. It was brown, and it had a back pocket, and you put these little records into it. And the records had pictures on them, and there was one for Bobby Orr, and there was one for a basketball player named Lou Alcindor. And you'd put these in, and they would play, and you would listen, like kind of like a C&say, to a pre-recorded sports story of like a minute long that was like, Lou Alcindor, and they gave you a complete biography, and then it would end with, Lou Alcindor, and you would hear the crowd go,
I totally...
On a little record.
Do you have a bare recollection of that toy?
I haven't thought about that forever, but yes. Now I need to know the name of that. I had that.
A primitive iPod.
That
only did sports, 1 minute sports segments. But that was, I mean, you step aside for living legend like that. That dude's like Stan Lee, like one of these people. It's just like, he's been here. How old you say he was?
He's 64.
Okay, 64. He's seen a lot of history, and he's been living history. He stands there before he was living history.
By the time he was in ninth grade, they pretty much knew he was going to be a pro basketball player for real. They knew that early with him. So, and then at 42, you have to say goodbye and then figure out the rest of your life.
This is my one observation from being in the room with him.
Yeah.
He does not. He's over hearing how tall he is.
I know.
Oh, you could pick that up in a second.
He never wants to hear somebody be like, "What's the weather like?" or "Jesus, you're tall," or "What the
man?"
He's just like, "I'm 64. I've been hearing this since I was 9.
Yeah.
Stop it."
He's like, "Yeah, I'm tall."
You got to think. You got to think if he's 64, he's lost a couple inches, and he almost hit the ceiling in here.
Not only does he not look like he didn't lose, we said it in front of him. He fucking looks ageless.
I know, that is true.
He's surreal looking in person. Like when he comes in, you feel like there's a man being carried in on something.
Yeah.
Like he's that large.
I said it looked like the guy from the Close Encounter ship. The last guy that comes out. Bang!
I was going for the quiet grace of Chewie.
Well, okay.
He had a real Chewie-like statesmanship.
Was it Pat from Monarchy? Was it the GAF or the GAF Viewmaster?
It wasn't. I remember the GAF or the GAF Viewmaster, but that was more of a visual-oriented toy that you looked into. Some of the GAFs could project. This was strictly, I believe it's Mattel, hard plastic, brown and like dark orange in color. It had a speaker in the front. I forget what the design was. It had this push button thing on the side.
I remember
that was half a white disc of some sort. You would push it in, and that would play the record inside. And it was just the one I had, just sports stories.
Someone's saying Sports Talk by Tops, but
that's not it.
Yeah, all right. Well. Hey, I want to make sure people know about your new project. It's called Comic Book Men. Starts Sunday at 10 p.m. on AMC. It's a reality show, right?
Yeah, it's
based
set
around
at
the comic book store.
Yeah, down in Red Bank. It's fucking dope. I pitched. I was like, let's do Pawn Stars in a comic book store.
Yeah,
and because for me, I felt like you watch those shows every once in a while. If you're a geek, somebody brings a comic book or a toy, and you're like, that fucking, I wish the whole episode was this. and so this show, I was like, let's do a show that the whole episode is that. And the cats that put it together, AMC, Original Media, Lisa's our producer, and the boys themselves, they put together a much better show. It's actually kind of like Clerks meets Mallrats, the reality series. Because you're behind the counter with the dudes, and they're always talking about geeky shit. And then transactional stuff in the store. But it's pretty dope, man. I stayed out of it. I come in for, you know how you watch reality shows, motherfuckers talk at the camera like, I hated this fucking prick and I wanted to punch him. We don't do that kind of thing. In order to set up the stories, it's framed like this. There's 5 of us sitting around a table with mics and whatnot, and we're recording a podcast. So I'm like, what happened this week at the store? And then they kind of frame all the stories that way. So we don't have any of that down the barrel.
Gotcha.
And because of that, it plays a little more like a narrative, maybe a little bit more like a film or something like that. And that's that AMC edge. It's a dope show, but like I said, if it don't work where it is, like they're putting it right after The Walking Dead. If it don't work there, it doesn't belong on television because that's what a lead-in. It's an amazing fucking
lead-in. They gave you that spot.
It was pretty damn sweet. Originally, the show was meant to be something to, like, when The Walking Dead went off the air, they'd have something to put on that geeks would tune into. But they liked the show, and they were like, we're going to pair it with The Walking Dead. So we're getting lucky, man, real lucky. And even if it doesn't go beyond the season, my boys, my friends, I could turn on AMC, the channel that I watch, network I love, and see literally fucking my friends, dudes I grew up with.
That's so cool.
It's so fucking awesome. That came from podcasting.
Right.
Like, that's based on their podcast,
Right.
Tell 'em Steve Dave.
More importantly, it was called the Mattel Instant Replay Mini Record Player.
Is there a picture of it? Do you
No,
see?
but it's coming in so much, it has to be true.
It's got to be true. It had the white button on the side, and it had a Bobby Orr record. It had a Lou Alcindor record, and I forget who the football guy was.
Lou Alcindor record.
It looked like a record. It was this small.
It was tiny. Didn't the record? It's stuck halfway out too, right?
Yes, when you put it in, you can watch it spin.
I remember this thing.
Oh, watch it spin. That was
I think
cool.
they had it for all.
I'm sure ladies or girls, young women used it as proto vibrator
device.
Like whenever you saw like that shoe buffer in a hotel when you were a kid, you're like, I'd like to stick my dick on that. And when you grow up and you get your own shoe buffer, you're like, it's time.
Yeah,
I thought that when I would see a guy actually shining shoes in an airport.
I'd like to stick my dick in
I
that.
would just rub my cock on his hand.
He's already bent over.
I think we got to go back to the Kareem thing.
Go ahead.
I've been thinking about
it's
it a little
interesting.
bit.
Go ahead.
You
And
think?
without, I think
Kenny
you can
ran
do
in
it
here and
without
said-
bashing anybody.
Kenny ran in here and said that Kareem was getting a talking to, and then we all looked down the hall, and he was. He was getting a talking to
That was
right
a
down the hall
lambasting from what I saw.
By, I guess it's a PR person.
Publicist.
Yeah.
I'm thinking publicist.
The
And
way
I'm like,
these
no
dudes
one's-
reacted, apparently, he would like the color went out of Opie's face. He was just like, Kareem's getting yelled at.
It was fucked up. He was standing in the
No
hall.
one yells at Kareem.
And there was
Especially
yelling
whoever this
going
person
on.
And then I realized, wait,
Yeah.
he could take care of himself. He doesn't need my shit.
But here's some
Can he take care of himself? He's a gentle soul. That's the thing. Like, when you talk to him, he's kind of like, I don't want no fuss, or you know, you could see him taking it rather than being like, shut up.
Is that her right there?
No.
Oh, because now
That's Roland.
He must like her,
They
though,
look
because
alike,
I
though.
think she's been with him for a while, so she must do.
Kenny said something. Roland said something.
What was she dressing him down about?
Roland told me you need to get Spencer on the air. Supposedly she was banned from this building. She's like a problem. Where's Kenny and where's Roland?
She was very. I think she was annoyed at the line of question, what she doesn't understand, and this is just. But I think as a publicist, she should kind of. We're talking to Kareem about the skyhook, and he was great. The skyhook and martial arts and all this stuff.
Which, P.S., when that happened, he lit up.
He was happy
like,
to
you
talk
could
about
you
it.
could sit there, listen to him, and he was very eloquent on everything. But when he talked about the skyhook, there was a certain energy there that hadn't been present in the entire interview because he's like, oh, great, yeah, like I like talking about
his
this.
passion, yeah.
What PR people don't understand is, you know, of course we're going to get to the new project, but if you just talk about the new project the whole time, you're going to lose listeners. So what you try to do is we have to make it interesting for our audience. We don't want to lose them, and then that means you're going to, you know, have more people listening about the book.
And also,
logically, it makes sense, right?
You can't just talk about the book for 20 minutes. It's a kid's book. Now, are there plenty of parents out there that would buy it? Honestly, yeah. But we're also marketing this to people who are like me. I'm not a parent, but you know what? I would absolutely go and buy this to have Kareem sign it. I bought books I wasn't going to read. Henry Winkler. The first time I met Henry Winkler, I bought his book just so he would sign it. It's a kid's book. A lot of people do that because they like the artist or they like the person.
Yeah.
So it's like we're also interviewing you for his fans who will go out and buy the fucking book.
And somebody
stand
sitting
online
there,
for him to sign it.
Somebody sitting there listening to that Skyhook story is just like, oh my God, I remember. Like, oh, if you're old enough and you got some kids, you're going, I remember watching him do that. Man.
Yeah.
I liked listening to him talk about that. You're more inclined to jump on Amazon and buy the book.
Of course.
Publicists never quite understand.
They don't, no.
This is something I've always believed in. You come in, the less you talk about what you're quote-unquote there to promote, the better it is for it. All you have to do, your only job is to go in there and be interesting. Because if you're interesting,
then
they'll start looking you up and whatnot. But when you go in pushing something down their throats, people are immediately like, I'm being sold.
Turned off. Yeah.
I watched the interview you guys did with Paris Hilton.
She was a delight.
God.
Oh, my God, it was painful. And it's just like, in this transaction, nobody wins. You guys won because it's a good video.
Yeah.
But she don't win. Nobody's going to buy that book when she sits there all truculent.
Her reality show,
Terrible.
and it got knocked off
It was
the
the
air.
reality show.
Did you get to the part of Daryl Hammond's book about Paris
Yes,
Hilton?
where she was the biggest twat who hosted SNL.
She was the biggest twat that ever hosted SNL. Didn't want to meet with the writers, like these Emmy Award-winning writers. I guess the process with SNL, you're the host, you come in, and now you go from office to office, and they got these ideas, and they have won all sorts of awards. They're trying to make you look good. And she was, Daryl Hammond overheard her saying, how many more of these do I have to do?
She really is the vapid cunt that you think she's going to be.
Oh, yeah,
I hate to say that. I wish she wasn't.
I watched every minute of that video because you were fucking trying, dude. It was valiant how much you were putting into it because it would have been so easy within the first minute to just be like,
all right,
fuck this and start cutting and running.
We were trying to be on our best behavior.
Because she's an easy target. Like,
yeah.
It doesn't take much to berate Paris Hilton. So I'm like, fuck it. Let's give her a real interview. Be nice to her. Try to say that people
don't be what she
misread
expects.
Yes.
She walked into the room and she expected a bunch of dudes being like, woo, woo,
she sucked, dude.
She sucked.
She stunk.
She get nothing. But
let's get back to the current day. Did you have a thought? I'm sorry.
Kareem, on the other hand, gave something in regards to the doc. It was interesting in regards to the book. But no doubt, when he started talking about the Skyhook,
he was into it.
He lit up. He lit up.
But you also notice he doesn't like talking about his height.
Except very true. I mean, look, he wasn't a tough man to read by any stretch of the imagination. Stay away from the height. Let's talk about.
But it's hard not to say something. Kenny, what happened? Don't hold back. What did you hear after the interview?
Nothing. I was just taken back of the way that lady took Kareem aside and was like.
She was yelling at him, right?
Yelling at him.
Scolding him.
You don't talk about the Skyhook. You don't talk about fourth grade. All you talk about is the book. That's what we're here to promote is the book.
I think that's bad advice.
That's
very bad.
Terrible advice.
That's worse advice than, yes, Adolf, good idea to go into Germany and it's cold out.
But she wasn't.
I meant to say fucking Russia. God damn history jokes. I always blow them.
But it was the way she was saying it. She was yelling at him.
Eric's got a better story than me.
Eric, what happened?
I'm sorry, I was just watching him and see if he was getting yelled at again as he came out of Shade 45.
Where are they now?
They're in the hallway right here next to us.
Oh, I just want to look at
What's she doing?
She's on the phone. There he is. And she's looking over the legal agreement.
What?
That's smart before they sign it. She wants to make sure.
She should be very happy, though, because his segment turned into almost a double segment. He's not even here, and he's getting some ink.
Right.
Exactly.
Go buy Kareem's book. Where's it being signed tonight?
Fucking Kareem.
I
just tweeted it. Barnes and Noble on Warren Street. It literally is
What a
hard.
class act, an unbelievable class.
He was
act.
great. He didn't mind talking about any of that stuff.
What? Eric, you have a story though? What did she do to you?
She was just
She was in there with you?
Yeah, and she was bitching and complaining the second she walked in here. You were only 3 minutes into the interview,
right?
And she was saying, they're past 7 minutes already. We got to wrap this up. And to the credit of the blonde publicist that was here, who was trying to control the brunette publicist, she was saying, they just started talking. We've got time. Don't worry about it. And then when, again, you brought up him in junior high, the Skyhook, so all this stuff that wasn't book-centric, she kept going, why are they talking about this? Why is he talking about that? And then she started saying, I need to speak to every host from the next interviews that we do to let them know what they can and can't talk about.
Oh, yeah. Hosts love that, by the way.
Please get her in
here. Do hosts love that?
Out of respect for him, I won't yell at her because for whatever reason, he has her. And she didn't yell at us.
He didn't look happy after the dress down.
I mean, whatever. If that's how he wants to conduct business, fine. But in my perspective, you let him go in and talk to what makes him happiest.
Right.
And that'll sell whatever you're trying to sell.
I think that he probably doesn't understand.
Look, she just gave us a look.
He doesn't understand probably what a bad job she's doing for him in that way.
Roland's handling some
Either
stuff
that or he wants a pit bull, too.
Maybe.
Somebody to go in and be like, get me in and out.
Roland, what do you know about this lady? She's intense.
Oh, Jesus.
Really?
Well, what's going on?
She's the worst.
What?
She goes, oh, that was such a great interview in there. So it's such a difference.
She just said that? Yeah. Get her in
What,
here.
on the other interview?
Please get her.
No.
At one point...
It's not like we mentioned AIDS and Magic Johnson.
No, we gave a better interview.
Wait.
I don't know what Sway's interview.
She walked out of the Sway interview
To
saying like, that was so much better. Why? Because was it all about the book?
What? No, probably not.
It's probably because it was a black host interviewing him about black. But again...
It was short. That's
it was very
why.
short. But that's a publicist giving terrible advice.
Yeah.
Because, again, if you don't understand that we have a really large audience, and our audience would like to hear from Kareem, and sure, we mentioned the book, he also wanted that other thing plugged. And I was happy to plug that, and I actually saw it.
Yeah. I want a copy of that. Anyone have a copy of that?
Do you have a
have a
copy?
copy
I might
of that?
still have my copy, sure.
Worst publicist ever?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's rough.
Because that's her only client's Kareem.
And what? She got banned from the building last time or something, you're telling me?
They threw her out.
They threw her out for what?
She barged in for
Yeah,
interviews.
she was getting ready to start coming in
if
here.
Anthony has a question.
Oh, I wish she came
She would
in.
have barged in.
God, I wish she came in.
I felt bad because I just let her in there with Eric so she could torture Eric.
I had to scream
So
and get Roland
that
in
was
here
like 5 minutes off.
to run interference on this lady because she was leaning over the board here. And, you know,
She's
when we
bad.
have to wrap up, the publicist say we have 5 minutes, whatever. I tell, you know, you guys in your headphones, hey, we have 5 minutes or he has to go. So, you know, she kept saying, well, why aren't they wrapping up? Jimmy would ask another question and she'd start losing her shit. And then Jimmy would keep talking again.
God.
They're not plugging the book. Why does he keep going on about this? I think this is around the time when you started asking about talking about the Skyhook. And she goes, you need to tell them. So I'm pretending I'm hitting the buttons that I'm telling you guys in the headphones. And I kept telling her, I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do. I told them, they know. And she's sitting there and she goes, well, what are we going to do? The hosts aren't listening to you. And I said, there's nothing we can do.
She wanted to barge in here.
She goes, well, how do we go in there and stop this? I go, we don't.
What are we doing? Beating him up?
E-Rock.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like... What?
That's where you failed. You should have let her come in, man. You know that would have been
my
good.
picture wouldn't have got signed.
No,
I would have cried.
you know that would have been
Teardrops
good. At that point, you go, look, I can't stop him. You better get in
No,
there.
this was too big a guest for you guys.
We got what we needed.
If it was somebody of lesser status,
Next
I wouldn't
time,
have
let
cared.
her come in.
But this was too big, and I wasn't going to let her in.
Let her
with your
come
thing.
in.
Do you
next
see,
time.
Paris Hilton's publicist was also awful. Like, she didn't realize that, like, we were really nice to Paris. We had a good time with Kareem.
We tried.
And it's like, it's amazing what pigs publicists in general, as a rule, can be. Like, your job is not to be the jealous center of attention. Your job is to represent your client and guide your client in a smart way to promote their product and to promote them. It's not to be the spoiled star yourself because you're not the interesting one.
Right.
But which again, to the flip side, a lot of people stand behind their people. They want pit bulls
You're
so
right.
they can be like, you be the bad guy. I don't want to be the bad guy.
And you,
so
and you
sometimes
sit there
the publicist-
shrug like, I would love to stay.
Yeah,
but,
like, hey man, I'm on a tight
I
schedule.
understand that,
or
but
shrug.
getting yelled at in the hallways...
That
or
one,
stuff, that's
I've
weird.
never seen
But a
in
pit bull who
million
gives
years.
bad advice, that's
is
the
one-
problem.
yeah.
Well,
I'm
Kareem
with
will
you on
figure
that.
that shit out. He's smart enough to figure it out in the end. Is Spencer around for his story?
He had to go get another guest.
Okay, and I love Twitter. Queen Elizabeth on Twitter, who I've seen her tweets and I like her. Just the cluelessness of this tweet. I got blocked by Paris Hilton because I wished her uncle Nicky Hilton was alive and would kick out her uterus. And then the hashtag is sensitive cunt. Like she doesn't understand why Paris Hilton would
Why
block
would I
her
get
for that.
blocked? Now, Roland.
Yes.
This publicist, did she inform Sway what he can and cannot talk about? Because I heard when she got Kareem out of here, she was going to tell all the rest of the hosts that are doing interviews what they can and can't talk about.
Oh, she was in there blabbering.
She was.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to hear.
God, I wish
She
that
goes,
says.
don't make sure to promote the book, and don't forget that he's with Hillary Clinton. Don't forget that. And he's like, yeah.
Yeah, we got all that out, you dumb fuck.
Of course we did.
And it was the stupidest stuff that she was getting mad at. You talking about him in junior high. This was nothing offensive or detract from the interview, and that's what she started screaming
It's all
about.
interesting stuff we asked. You're talking about a guy that in ninth grade they pretty much knew was going to be in the NBA.
And that you weren't plugging enough. The blonde publicist kept saying, Jimmy just did the plug. You're yelling and not even listening to what's going on. And Jimmy will plug, and she said Jim will plug it again at the end of the interview, which you did.
I know how to plug, and I know the value of a plug, and I was happy to do it. But it doesn't serve him or the audience well to every 2 seconds go, so you're a basketball, the book. Oh, the book.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to just hear
That's Scott and Todd. Yeah.
about, you know what I mean? You have to mix it up with a real interview.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, the blonde said they have to work it in. They have to humanize the interview.
Yeah, exactly, because we're not doing a 5-minute TV spot.
Hey, get them on QVC if you want that shit.
Radio is different than television.
Getting to
radio.
the soul of a person is going to sell far more of whatever that person wants
Absolutely.
to sell than
Yeah,
just sitting there empty formalism saying, I have a book, I have this video, these are where you can get them and whatnot. You got to get to know somebody a little bit, especially in this try before you buy culture, man. Like most people are like, I want to be a little invested in this guy before I put my hard-earned money up. Not everyone has a lot of spending cash right now. So hearing about his life, going to the place of like, let's talk about something that is you and only you, a signature that has lasted in sport long after you've been there, is the smart fucking play. Anybody that doesn't see that, not good at their fucking job.
I don't think she knows who she's handling.
Thanks,
It's
Kevin.
Fucked up.
But he's completely right.
Yeah, of course.
That is exactly what it is.
My
Let me,
God,
let me
man.
Can we talk about, did you guys talk about the Powell story yet?
The what?
The Powell, this guy who killed his kids?
Oh, this is
No,
so
we didn't.
fucking
What a
twisted.
selfish cocksucker.
What a dick.
Oh,
I mean,
and
this is
really
the dude who I
nasty.
guess, like, they were like, did he kill his wife? Didn't he? She's
Utah.
been missing for 2 years in Utah.
2 years?
Yeah.
Listen to how it happened, dude. I guess he was.
Which one is he, Kev?
He is. It's. I'm
I
looking
wanna
at
see his
CBS
picture.
News. It's authorities. Dead Powell boys had. Well, I'm going to bury the lead because I don't want to terrify you. Josh Powell, his name is. Josh Powell's boys were coming for a visit, and he had preparations to make. He boxed up their books and toys and took them to a charity. He carried heavy cans of gasoline inside his house and set aside a hatchet. He thought about what to write in the emails. Oh, my God. Listen to this part.
I can't even.
When the boys finally arrived in a car driven by a social worker Sunday, everything was ready to go. They ran inside to see him. He locked the door before the social worker could reach it.
Whoa.
They walked in the door. He locked it and lit a fire.
Whoa, man.
Now, while the place was in flames, he had written a note saying he's out, he's sorry, blah, 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 and he didn't want to leave these kids behind for whatever reason. I guess one
he
of
is
them
selfish.
He's a fucking monster, this fucking horrible animal who's apparently already killed his wife. Wasn't enough. Now maybe he wants to kill his kids. Or look, you can't even say allegedly.
He killed
Yeah,
This
yeah,
guy,
I
the
think,
way they found the house, it's pretty much fucking him with the note and
Yeah.
everything. But what I didn't hear from the first story, and now it's getting out, is there was a hatchet beside him, and part of his plan was, I'm going to light the place on fire and then kill the kids with the axe if it's too much. And apparently they found the boys. This is heartbreaking. They found the boys with chop marks on them. He tried to fucking, take into the kid's neck, take a hatchet to the other kid's head to stop him from, I guess, crying or
Married
screaming
man,
or
are
smoking
you,
elation.
Mr. Grady?
Unbelievable.
What is
Wow.
the selfishness of that?
This is that's truly a monster right
You
there.
can't leave
man.
the kids behind?
How do you fucking...
It's unbelievable.
Just shoot yourself, you no legacy cunt.
This is why people go like, how come people give a shit about fucking Kardashian and Paris Hilton? And shit? Because I would rather read about that superficiality in the news than hear a fucking story like this. This will stay with you forever.
That's a bad one.
Did you
Unless, I don't know. Some stories are kind of, what about the uplifting news stories?
Is there one today?
No.
I mean, there's giants. Canyon of Heroes.
Let me ask you something,
Football.
Kev.
True.
You've been a father for what? How old's your daughter now?
12 now.
This shit is
Terrifying.
way worse when you become a parent, right?
Yeah, and I mean, this
It
story not
reaches
so
a
much
le-
because I'm like, what if I do this?
Right.
You're not going to be this guy. The
Stay
story,
at
the
the
other
Overlook.
stories, the story like today, the one kid's going to court for the lacrosse kid who probably killed the lacrosse girlfriend or something like that.
Yeah.
There's a two parent, or I guess her mom and her sister are sitting in court, both wearing pink, man, trying to find out like, are they going to prosecute this animal? It's. Kids killing kids, yeah, that terrifies you as a parent. I send my kid to an all-girls school, and even that makes me feel a little safer, but it's just like, oh,
Why'd you
man.
pick that?
For that reason.
Really?
Like, yeah, well, number
Just
one,
keep her safer?
There's studies that show that if girls are in an all-girls school, they'll excel in their schoolwork. If they're sometimes in mixed-gender school, they tend not to answer the question because nobody wants to be perceived as the smart, nerdy kid. So for years, girls have been kind of quietly like, I know the answer, but I'm not saying anything.
Oh, I thought they were just stupid.
Yeah, me too.
There you go.
There
And
you
they're
go.
not. They're not.
Oh, those girls.
So we put her in an all-girls school, give her a little bit of an edge. She's a smart kid, man. But she's already, she's 12, so she's starting to be like, boy, she's giving my wife a real hard time lately. But like, how
shit.
come you don't know any boys? And my wife's like, am I, a pimp? Like, even if I knew boys, I'm not going to set you up with them and stuff.
Yeah.
She's lamenting the fact that there's no 12 to 14-year-old boys in our world at all.
What is she into?
What is she like
now?
now?
Do you talk about this stuff? If
all the time.
Okay, because if you don't...
she's into, right now, she's way into Super 8. She loved that movie.
Really?
She watches it religiously. She likes the cast. She went and did a show at school, Alice in Wonderland, and they didn't do a typical kind of like cutesy one. They did a rendition of the, what's his name? My Dinner with Andre. Is Andre Benjamin's or Andre Brower? And Andre Brower is the black actor. Andre Gregory is the playwright. He wrote this Alice in Wonderland that was a little more psychedelic. They performed that and stuff. We went to see it. It was fine, for a kid's production. But it really sparked her imagination. She was just like, this is what I want to do. I want to act. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Great.
But I was like, great. Acting can be fun. She found, like, for years when she was little, she'd say funny things, we'd laugh, and then she'd get all self-conscious. She didn't understand laughing with, laughing at. And so being in the show, I think, was a real breakthrough for her. She's like, oh, my God, I just want to make people laugh. Like, there's no better fucking feeling.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Which I'm like, great, yes, there's no better feeling in the world than making people laugh. Don't investigate sex.
Stick with that.
Making people laugh is the greatest feeling there will ever be. So I'm, it's getting into that time where
Would you rather not go into the business as an actress?
No, I wouldn't care, man.
No?
Look,
Okay.
we try to, your job as a parent, try to make your kids' lives a little better than your life was, and to improve it as much as you can. If she wants to pursue that, I mean, Lord knows I've been putting in enough time in this business. If she's like, hey, I would like to try this, I'd be like, great, try it under my wing. Don't go out there and like get thrown onto a casting couch. Don't go out there and make crap and stuff like that. Make crap with your dad. Dad makes crap right here. So if she was into it, I would try to help her as much. But she was very clear with us the other day. It was adorably earnest. She was just like, I don't want any help. I got to do this on my own. And I'm like, what are you watching, that fucking Fame movie? Like, take all the help you can get,
the
man.
favors,
Take the edge.
God, I wish I had help.
I know.
Are you
like,
kidding
if my
me?
father could
Fuck
have helped
that.
me out, I would have ridden his back right in.
I would have taken the shortcut, no problem.
I'm going to make it on my own terms. I'm like,
I was
please.
a kid. Why
Where's
are you
a
going to be
coattail?
the first Smith kid with integrity? Fuck that. Just ride the ride, kid.
Exactly, man.
You want to be on Opie and Anthony? Come with me.
Yeah, come on.
We got Kevin Smith questions. Let's go to Matt in Jersey. Matt.
Hey, Kevin. Good morning, man.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good, dude. Hey, did you hear about the quick stop that you made so famous in Clerks? It recently got held up by gunpoint and robbed the other day.
I did. Well, I saw, this was a couple weeks back. I saw a news report about it. It said Middletown convenience store robbed, and I read the article. I was like, that's Quick Stop. And my first reaction after, thank God the dude was safe, is, why wouldn't they call it Quick Stop from Clerks as robbed?
Right.
I was real outraged that we weren't in the headline. But yeah, it's a bummer, man. Like, I'd been there for years, and I was always afraid, particularly on Mischief Night and Halloween, because you're allowed to walk around wearing masks and stuff. And anytime people come in the store, they always told you be a bit more vigilant, because that might be the day they'll pull a gun on you and stuff. But that never happened to me. I put it in Clerks and cut it out. It was like the original ending to it. But thank God it never happened on my watch. That would have changed my life. That would not have turned me into Batman. That would have turned me into like total puss. Where I never would have left the house. I would have quit that job. I would have been like, life's too hard. Total shut in.
It's danger out there all the time.
Totally. That would have been the first probably dick I had in my mouth, because I'd be like, let me suck you off to save my life.
Well, it's not gay if you're saving your life.
That's true.
All right, that's right.
Well,
Or be honest with each other.
if you enjoy it. If you're like, hey, this ain't bad.
It's
like,
not
I'm saving
gay.
my life and learning.
It's not gay if you think he's going to rob the place, and you're doing a kind of you're heading it off at the pass, a quick blowjob, just to take his
Who's looking?
You
You
just
find
assume
yourself
everyone's in a state of about to rob you.
you find yourself perusing convenience stores in bad neighborhoods with your mouth open, waiting to save people.
Who needs help?
I'm
here. Mouth man.
To help you.
Don't hurt these people. Take it out on my palate with your cock and balls.
You just need a good shot in the mouth. My mouth.
You got some?
These people go.
Sorry. You got some? I
Well,
saw
Spencer's there, so I was asking Sam to grab Spencer.
Because I saw you get all excited.
Spencer.
They can't hear us out there. Thanks for the call there, sir. Let's get Tony in Cleveland.
Hey,
How's it going this morning, guys?
Hey,
All right, Tony, what do you got? I don't want to lose Spencer.
I saw a...
You won't come on the air?
No, I'm getting the story done.
Oh, all right. Sorry. Go ahead, Tony.
Hey, I saw a documentary years ago about the whole UCLA run and Wooden and all that. And they talked about Kareem when he was first got to UCLA.
he drew some ire from the press because he had made some comments about, the 68 Olympics with the black fist in the air and with all the stuff that was going on with the Vietnam War. And it was fairly anything he said. He just, they had some, he basically said that he thought those guys were right for putting their fists in the air and all this. And then next thing you know, it got blown into he's a Black Panther and all this. So John Wooden pulled him aside and said, look, you are such a fist in the air and with all the stuff that was going on with the Vietnam War. And it was fairly anything he said. He just, they had some, he basically said that he thought those guys were right for putting their fists in the air and all this. And then next thing you know, it got blown into he's a Black Panther and all this. So John Wooden pulled him aside and said, look, there's such a huge spotlight on you. Everything you say is going to be twisted. So ever since then, he's kind of shied away from the press, and everybody labeled him as, being an asshole and all this. Well, after he retired, they come to him, and, that's when, the whole pot thing was going on and the MPA, and they brought it up to him, and he said, well, I smoked pot. What's the big deal?
Yeah, I got to tell you, we all heard those stories over the years. We were lucky enough to talk to him for what, maybe a half hour? I saw a really nice, sweet guy. Right, Jimmy?
Yeah, he was very pleasant.
Like, I was expecting a guy that would be a little, fucking intimidating.
Abrasive?
Besides his height, just an intimidating individual.
He was really nice.
He wasn't that at all.
I wanted to tell him that I do the sky hook a lot, but without the ball. I just walk around making the sky hook motion. Yeah.
You're awful.
You still don't have your voice down for Kevin's movie.
Well, I'm a little scratchy today.
Aw.
Because I haven't been sleeping and I've been suicidal.
You know what? There are a million other actors who are not scratchy.
You're right. But I won't be scratchy come film time.
That's absolutely
I'm a little scratchy today, so better to get it out of the way.
Suicidal?
Yeah, who isn't?
Hey, somebody said that you were talking about coming out to be on the show or something like that. You were talking about being on one of the Smodcasts or something like that when you come west.
I would, sure.
Somebody said that you said something the other day.
Did I?
Yeah, on the show. You were like, I wanted to be on Smodcast, but he wasn't there or something. He didn't get back.
Either I was talking about the fact that we did Rogan's in your old Smodcast place.
In the
might have been that, yeah, because we did it. It was a cool facility.
Yeah.
He whipped up an audience real quick.
Nice.
And,
you got a nice thing going there with the little network.
But it's fun. There's a nice article on Newsweek this week.
Yeah.
This picture of me looks like Superman.
Does my name come up in it?
I'm sorry?
Does my name come up in it?
Not in that one.
Self-centered performer question.
Did you mention us
at
all?
Did. I was just like, hey.
You do podcasts, we do radio. Can you mention us?
Same thing. I just want to do what you guys do.
Do you read your reviews on iTunes? Because I read mine, and a couple of them infuriate me.
No. At the end of the day, it's like there are enough people that seem to like it. There's bound to be people who are like, fuck you, this ain't funny.
I don't mind a fuck you, I didn't like it or anything, but I do mind a fuck you, the sound was a little muddy on that. It's like, look, motherfucker, could you base
will
it
get
on
them mad too?
Yeah. Could you just base it on the content and not
your character?
The beauty of those, though, is you're able to just be like, great, don't listen. Please don't listen.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need you. Don't listen.
Fucking listen.
Like, if it upsets you in the least, if it's a discomfort at all, if it puts you out at all, please don't listen.
Yeah.
We'll be fine.
Did anyone else hear that Jimmy said he's suicidal? I'm not going to let that go.
We'll get it.
Because we've known him a long time. That wasn't just a throwaway. He was reaching out for help.
Not really. No, I'm not reaching out.
You all right?
Yes, I'm fine.
He's just got a scratchy throat.
But he meant it.
Yeah, he did.
I know when Jimmy means something, and we're just like, oh, suicidal, whatever. Kevin.
I'm just in worthless mode, which we all go through.
Yeah.
Why?
Just is.
Feeling irrelevant. You don't. Every once in a while, moments like that, you want like hey, there's an article, or hey, somebody sent me a cool email. Like you spend day to day looking for those moments to buoy the rest of the day.
But I'm not feeling sorry for myself. I don't want pity for people.
No.
How would you do it?
You could feel sorry for yourself. I hope you don't do that.
You got a part. You got a part in a movie coming.
Thank you. Yes, I do.
A minor film director told you that he's working on your part. That should put a little spring in your step.
But he answered the question without even hesitating.
Well, I can't. I don't have a gun. I'm not going to shoot myself. That's too mad. Because I know, like Richard Jeni was alive when they took him to the hospital. It's like fucking creepy. Even though he died right after.
You would hang yourself.
What do you mean? Explain.
He's talking about the methods. I'm like, I wouldn't shoot he shot himself. But I think Richard Jeni, the comedian, he was a great comedian. But he blew his like 50, whatever, midlife. He was fucking
had nothing to do with us, by the way, because people like to think we had something to do with that.
He's probably
he had one moment with the guy.
I didn't know Richard.
He shot himself, but then he went to the hospital.
His girlfriend or whatever called the ambulance, but he was, I guess, technically still alive
in the shower, right?
Yeah, but he drank though. I don't know if he was an alcoholic or not, but every time I saw him, he smelled like he had a few. So I don't know if that took place. Maybe that caused a little depression. I hope that was it.
Drinkers become stoners. All drinkers, put it aside.
Put it
I know
aside.
Budweiser doesn't want to hear this.
Pick
but
up the
become stoners,
weed.
man. You never hear about some stoner blowing his head off. You never hear about an unhappy stoner.
Yeah.
Stoning gives you perspective, man. It centers you. You go like, you know what? I'll live to fight another day.
Yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do enjoy a good wine buzz.
What? Really?
I get. Oh yeah. Believe it or not, contrary to popular belief, I'm not a mean drunk.
Right.
I'm not nasty. I get very mellow. Like Jimmy says, the worst thing I do is repeat myself over and over again with stories.
He actually just lays on his back with grapes in his mouth and lets people step on him to cut out the malarkey.
Your voice gets a little louder too.
Yeah, I get
a little
loud,
louder.
But it's all like laughing.
Why wine though? Wine used to give me the worst hangover.
Well, that's just it. I could do it. I could do like a bottle, and that's it. But then if if I'm hitting beers all night, I could just drink those and not even notice how many I put down, and then
wine is rough.
Then the next day you feel a little shitty.
I don't know why. It's all the shit they put in it, I guess. Sam, you got the story from Spencer?
Yeah.
What's up?
We're going
man?
back to Kareem's publicist, who pretty much gave him a talking to after our interview.
what's
was
up?
yelling at him in the hallway.
By the way,
Yelling at him.
most people thought was a really good interview. So
What's up?
what are you going to do?
Last time he was here, he was doing Mad Dog.
Okay.
And she didn't know who Mad Dog was.
Oh gosh.
And they were talking about the Lakers and stuff. Obviously on Mad Dog Sports.
Yeah.
And I guess he was promoting another book or something. I'm not sure what he was. Maybe the documentary when
He
it
was
came out.
promoting the documentary on the Wrens. My teeth are clenched. Go ahead.
And she started freaking out at Spencer, saying, "I'm going to go in there and stop this. They're talking about basketball. They're not talking about the movie. He is not just plugging the movie. He's talking about we're not here to talk about the Lakers."
God.
And Spencer has to go, no, you can't go in. Just let this one go, and the other ones will be blah, blah, blah. And she goes, all right. And then they went to do Covino and Rich next. And 2 minutes into the interview, when they talked about the Lakers, instead of just plug, she said, I'm going in there this time. And Spencer had to stand in front of the door and say, you're going to have to physically remove me.
Wow.
He then had to call his boss and call the head of security and say, we need to throw this lady out of the building.
Wow.
He said it was the most difficult afternoon of his professional life. He said this booking, and Spencer said she's banned from the building. And this morning, when this booking was made, Spencer said, yes, of course we'll take Kareem, but she can't come with him. Absolutely not. And so at 6 a.m., they say, she's going to come with him. She'll be on her best behavior. And Spencer says, absolutely not. She can't come in the building. And they said, well, we're going to cancel him from O&A and from Sway if she can't come in the building.
Oh, boy.
So that's why. That's the only reason she was up here.
Oh, okay. Because he would have canceled her.
problem.
He would have let him cancel.
Yeah, because he didn't want to lose.
No, that was
Kareem
cool
for
of
you
him. That
guys
was
or
very
for
cool of him
Sway.
and for Sway. But again, that's her. So I'm here to protect you. But how embarrassing for him that his publicist is doing him a disservice.
He's on Mad Dog's show, and she doesn't want him to talk about sports.
Yeah, that's
She's
what Mad
horrible.
Dog does.
I would love to write him an email. If I could get Kareem's email, I don't know how to get it, but
You can go hit him on Twitter.
Yeah, hit him on Twitter.
That's true.
what can you say in 140 characters?
We do it in
lot.
10. But do 10 tweets. That's 1,400. Right?
There you go.
And then it'll be noticed, and it'll get to his attention. If you go bang, 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 you got enough followers. They'll retweet it to him. And
Yeah, but I don't want them saying she's a contra. Like, I really
but
felt
just
bad.
They'll retweet you. They'll retweet what you
that
write.
this great, he's an ambassador, a cultural ambassador.
And you got that lady
And he has
yelling
to
at him?
stand there and be chewed
outta
out
here.
for talking about what made. Look, people didn't care about his karate movies. They wanted to see him play basketball, and now he's a celebrity because of it.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Publicist is
the
just
worst.
Hey, can we do a follow-up on the earlier Madonna story? She just announced a world tour.
World
Aw,
tour.
shit.
What a coinky dink.
There's nothing left to chance here.
Nope.
Everything
No.
is just a bunch of dominoes that fall.
Yes,
Strategy.
that's exactly
There's also
it.
another piece from the Globe and Mail about ITV. Have you heard about this?
Yeah.
ITV
Apple,
rumors
but no.
continue to swirl around the shady backwaters of the internet, but it's not often national papers of record decide to wade in, and it's the Globe and Mail in Canada. They say Apple's TV set, which is ITV, will include Siri-powered voice control, so you'll be like, TV,
Yeah.
I want to watch House Party. This is like the fucking Jetsons.
Like my
It's about
Xbox.
time.
It's
is what
like
I'm
Star
saying.
Trek, man.
Yeah.
We should have had this 10 years ago.
Computer.
Yes.
Working.
Very
What else is it going to have? With the virtual assistant also helping in those ever-pressing programming choices, there will also be gesture recognition, courtesy of a front-facing camera, and perhaps most worryingly, an on-screen keyboard for typing into a web browser and other apps.
Oh, man, that's going to be
gesture recognizer? That's great. Half my set's going to be going up and down.
This guy's jerking off again.
While the other half tweedles my nipple.
That's like the Xbox
Porn channel
Connect.
on again for you. Right?
Xbox Connect has that, and it works pretty good. You're like, Xbox, Netflix, and then it goes to Netflix, and then you hold your hand up and you swipe the screen.
So you like Tom Cruise in Minority Report?
Yeah, man.
Do you play classical music, or you're like, I could do it with that?
Yeah, I could do it. Let me just swipe this over here.
When is the ITV going to be available?
They're not saying officially, and it's weird that the Globe and Mail was even like, this is what we've heard, because that's usually online you'll find any number of people being like, this is what I've heard, but
not good
from
enough.
a major paper.
They're taking over phones. Now they got to take over our
Well,
TVs.
maybe this time I'll remember to buy call options before their earnings come out. I'm not like a fucking idiot. I say it every time to
What do
people.
you mean?
Were you calling on the phone or something?
Before Apple announces their quarterlies, buy options, stock options, call options, which you're betting that the stock is going to go up, and you're buying them at the fraction of the price of the actual shares.
Okay.
And then it always goes up after they announce earnings.
Because they always say
Because they always like,
cool.
wow, it's amazing. And then you sell the options and you pocket the fucking cash.
How much cash are we talking about for all that? Few phone calls.
You could get a good $100,000 out of it.
Fuck out of here.
Yeah, I know.
Why are you doing this?
Exactly.
Just be a broker and help me
I know.
out.
Well, I've had some
Take
of my money.
turn it into more money.
Turn it into more money. I've had my money tied up in the wonderful Sirius shares of late.
Oh, you bought some serious?
A while ago. I'm too lazy to actually just sell the shit, and because I'm about even with it, because I bought it at 2 and change, and it went down to nothing, came back up. So now I'm like, I just should sell it because I'm not making money with it. It's just kind of sitting there in limbo.
You got any Facebook stock?
No, when that IPO comes out, I don't know.
I got Twitter stock.
Do you have Twitter stock?
Yeah,
those preferred.
Somebody who worked there was like, I got a bunch of shares and I'm trying to do something new and I was going to sell some shares, and rather than just sell them to a broker, this person was like, I know you like Twitter, so do you want it? And I was like, fuck yes.
Man.
I never bought a stock in my life, but I was like, I enjoy having a piece of that because I use it every damn day.
Yeah,
like I don't give a shit if it eventually goes through the roof or anything. I got a little certificate with a little bird.
Hey,
on
that's
it.
cool.
It's kind of
bird on
badass,
it.
you know? It's neat. But if I
very
was ever
cool.
going to buy a stock, that would be the stock that made the most. That or Fleshlight.
Fleshlight.
Yeah,
I mean, come on. Who does not love that product?
I think
It
you've
works.
sold a few of those.
I can get behind them.
Hey, someone couldn't stay on the line. They said, "Thanks for coming to Detroit and filming." What was that about?
Hit somebody. That's what we're talking about, going to shoot the hockey movie.
Oh,
there in
all
Detroit.
right. So you haven't gone there yet?
No.
Yeah, because I didn't think you filmed there.
We will be.
Yes.
Did you get your voice figured out, Jimmy?
I'm not going to. No, I
You
will
got your
have
sweater
it.
on and everything.
Yeah, I know that because hockey players wear sweaters sometimes.
That's
You
right.
need a crackly voice for Pooh.
There it is. There it is, the Pooh voice.
Yeah, but I don't want it to be
Hey.
a caricature of Pooh. It has to really be this guy.
Guy, living, breathing soul.
So I have to get into who
Find
this
a
guy
gentle
is.
Pooh-like voice, though.
A gentle
Right.
Pooh voice.
Yeah.
I have a sweet voice, Kevin.
Yeah, but I'm looking for something even sweeter.
Oh,
Yeah,
good
yeah.
luck.
Hey, man, Jay-Z played at Carnegie Hall last night.
Yes, he did. He was wonderful.
What was
Did you
that
go?
about?
No, I was just trying my sweet
good
voice.
Sam knows about the Jay-Z?
Tell us, Sam. Was he good?
He did a charity thing. It was like between $2,500 and $500 a ticket.
Whoa.
And it was for his charity.
You're
and-
supposed to name the lower one first, you
Yeah,
dunce.
yeah.
I was going to say, I was trying to figure that, like 500,000 a ticket?
I
wait a
assume you
minute.
meant 5,000, right?
No,
No,
you meant
five-
2,500 and 500. You went
Oh,
backwards.
The smallest number ticket was $500.
Wow.
The
Number
biggest number
It's like
ticket
you're
was
listening to Dayton Britain or something like that, man.
Yeah, they got
fired.
that shit backwards. Okay.
And yeah, he did Carnegie Hall. I wanted to go, but I don't have $2,500.
Don't look at me.
Some of us did Carnegie Hall a long time ago.
That's true. That's true.
I was there on that nice night.
That was a fun night.
Kevin
That was
kicked
great.
ass at Carnegie Hall. I'm
fun.
hearing you got to go, Kevin.
Are we?
I'm
I don't
just
see Megan jumping up and down.
Kevin's
Megan. You
going,
cool out there?
What do you got,
She's
TV?
listening to somebody
E-Rock.
else.
Am I lying?
No,
He's
Roland
gotta
came
go.
in and said Kevin had to go.
How long do you think we're hanging out? By the time I finish all the fucking reads, it'll be 10.
10, 15. We got to sell a lot of shit for Valentine's Day, Kevin. is what
I'll
I'm
help.
getting
Yeah.
at.
I'll help.
Oh, there's all kinds of goodies.
They're all
ahead,
good
man.
products, but oh my God.
What do you mean?
What is it?
We
Steven
got flowers
Singer's Gold
and pajamas,
Flowers.
and we got berries. From,
Pajamagram, hoodie footies,
everything.
sweet and sexy.
What are you doing on Valentine's
Sherry's
Day?
Berries.
My wife tries to be like, it's Valentine's Day. We're going to be traveling. We're going to be flying to England because we got a British tour with Jay and Bob Get Old coming up next week or the week after. So we'll be on a plane. But generally, she's always like, let's go do something. Let's go to back in the day, it was, let's go to the Mondrian or let's go to fucking, Chateau Marmont. Let's get a room. I remember we once got a room at the Chateau Marmont, like one of those bungalows.
That's where Belushi died. For
where Belushi died, yeah.
Sorry.
Years and years back. But we got a camera and we took fucking stag pictures all night.
Really?
Pictures, yeah. That was hot. That was awesome. Man. They were mostly of her. I kept myself out of it because they would not have
You
been
let your
fun.
cock be in it, right? But just not the rest.
Not even that, dude.
Oh, come on.
I was just like, no, because there's not enough room between the fucking cockhead and the gut. It looks like a little sun rising over a mountain. So I didn't want to. That would incriminate me. People would be like, that's clearly your gut. Look at those stretch marks. It's got to be your dick. So I was just all her, man. It was all about her.
I try to get the cock in a lot. Pictures, yeah. Oh yeah.
You're all about the cock.
All about getting my cock in.
I'm with you. I wish if I had a remotely presentable cock and body, I'd be there. But
were you packing like 5?
Not even.
No.
Nah.
You like the angle? What angle do you use, Jimmy? You use lighting?
Lighting. I have a fucking crew come in.
Forced perspective?
Yes.
What do you do?
Of course.
Field, yeah.
Yes, I have a child hold it.
Depth of field. The head of your dick's a little more blurry than
He's
the base.
He's got a split diopter where he can hold something crisp in the foreground, and his head and his dick in the background looks large.
You know what I'll do
Forced perspective.
I have a picture in spandex where it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Because it's a creepy picture, but it's fucking pointed down.
Spandex?
Yeah.
You're wearing it to the left or to the right?
I'm wearing it to the right. It's a
I
good
go
question.
left.
Well, in that picture, it was to the right. It was with a webcam, I think.
Yeah.
And it was really. I'll show you.
Oh, well.
Oh, please do. Please pass
Wonderful.
it around. Kevin, would you like to see this?
This webcam picture?
Yeah.
If he's sharing it, I'll look.
All right, let's take a look at
It's
it.
going to take a second because there's a lot of photos to go through.
And
I
then-
bet.
And then we might have to get Kevin out of here.
I bet you got a lot of
Oh,
photos.
Kevin, before you do leave, Comic Book Men starts Sunday at 10 on AMC.
February 12th. Was that this Sunday?
Where are we at? Yeah.
Yeah, right on. It's this Sunday,
This
right
Sunday.
after The Walking Dead. 6 weeks of it, 6 episodes. What else we got going on? If you go to csmod.com, you'll see a list of everything. A lot of live shows. I got a book coming out next month. I'll probably be back in March if you guys don't mind.
Fuck yeah.
You're not going to yell at us for not talking about the thing enough, are you?
Which the book? Yeah, I'm just like, why the fuck are you talking about Kevin
God
Smith's
damn it.
Skyhook? But it's mostly I'm here to talk about Comic Book Men today. It's a dope fucking show.
Yeah.
Man. It turned into something cool.
And the comic book
Hold on,
shop's
I do
really
got something
cool.
to talk about.
Oh, okay.
Michael Parks wasn't nominated?
No.
What?
How did that happen?
Fucking ridiculous.
How'd that happen?
I don't know. I'm not in charge of those things. I'll tell you what I know, and I'm not
man.
bitching.
We're
'cause
talking about
anytime
Michael
I
Parks'
talk about
performance
this,
in Red State.
Yes.
But we have to talk about this.
anytime I talk about people like, you're crying, I ain't crying. I
Hell
don't give a
fucking
shit.
no.
I didn't want nominations for me. I don't care. Like, I'm comfortable in my own skin. I know what Red State is. The best work I've ever done. I don't need some fucking organization to be like, good job. That being said, Michael Parks should have gotten a fucking nod.
An amazing
In a world where
performance.
Max von Sydow is getting a nod for incredibly loud and uncomfortably close, whatever that movie's called, Michael Parks clearly should have been nominated. These are
Right.
things I know.
Who else was nominated?
SAG apparently has. Honestly, I didn't even. I know Max von Sydow just because I was like, that role got nominated, and he's a great actor. Don't get me wrong, but
Right.
like Parks shredded,
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
with that performance. With the SAG people for the SAG Awards, which I was like, great, we got a wonderful cast of actors. Somebody was just like, you missed the SAG deadline. I was like, what do you mean deadline? Like, you have to submit for the SAG Awards. And I was like, why? If we have a SAG movie
Right.
shot under the
That should be
SAG
good
agreement
enough.
with all SAG actors, doesn't every SAG-made movie qualify? No, you actually have to then submit. So I called up this dude and I was like, hey, man, I'm sorry. I didn't know we have to submit a SAG film, but I'm a week late, but does that matter? He's like, yeah, it does. Can't consider it.
Holy shit.
And so I was like, okay, and I bitched about that a little bit online. I got smacked around. People going, it's your fucking fault, stoner. You're like, submit the film on time. Had nothing to do with me. It wasn't my department, but whatever. I took it on the chin.
Was someone fired for that?
Not at all. I'm not that guy. Golden Globes people. Now, this I thought was a shoo-in. All the Golden Globes people are about as old as Michael Parks. They're 60 and up. Most of them I've met over the years. I've been going to these Golden Globe screenings and press conferences since Clerks. Golden Globes people. I asked somebody, I was like, okay, when's that? Or can we set up screening for him? They're like, they're not considering you. I said, why? They're like, because you didn't reach out to them and have a screening for them when the film was in theaters. And I said, but the film was never in theaters. We toured it and whatnot. So let me call them up. So I call them up, plead the case. The woman's going, no, you have missed the deadline submission. And I said, there was no deadline submission. We didn't even show you guys the movie and blah, blah, blah. And she's going, well, the movie played at Sundance and you did not show it to us. I was like, that was back in January. Lady, we never had a theatrical run. I said, I said, look, I start pulling from the past. I'm like, Joey Adams, she got nominated for a Golden Globe for Chasing Amy. Melissa, she got nominated last year and won. I was like, does this help at all? I've been sitting down with you guys for years, since like back before even Chasing Amy, talking to you. I know some of your names. She's like, oh, you are? Yeah, that's right. I remember who you are. She's like, okay, we will take it under advisement, get back to you. And they never called back. So I was like, all right, I guess we're out of the running there.
Man.
And then the last one, we jumped through all the hoops for the Academy. We had a week-long run in Los Angeles to qualify for the run. You have to have a run in a movie theater to qualify for the Academy Awards. You have to buy 2 ads in newspapers. We did that as well. Jumped through all the hoops. Didn't do the other part. Apparently the other part, I was told by Tony Angelotti, used to be my publicist, and he's a guy that runs Oscar campaigns, specifically right now for the last few years for Universal. He's a master at it. He's one of these people, his whole half of his year is spent strategizing for the Oscars. So I reached out to him this year. I was like, dude, you know I'm not this guy, but I got a dude in the movie who is magic, and I think he could get nominated. And he goes, okay, it's going to cost you $250,000 to start.
What?
And I said, what do you mean, man? I thought this was a meritocracy. He goes, oh, God, no, Kevin. He's going, you got to run these people like nominations. You got to have the right parties. There's 2 parties you got to have. One you got to have with Colleen Camp. Do you know her? I was like, no, I've seen her in movies and stuff. He's like, you got to have a party with her to introduce everybody to Michael Parks. And I remember I'd been to one of these parties. I was there for Ben for Gone Baby Gone. They're like, you have to come to this party. We're introducing everybody to Ben. I was like, I fucking know Ben Affleck. But they're like, oh, this is about introducing him to potential Academy members and stuff like that. It's like running for high school elections. So at that point, I don't put it down. I'm not like, oh, the Oscars ain't real. All those people up for awards, they're totally, even Max von Sydow deserves his nomination. But it's tough to look at all the performances this year and say Michael Parks didn't deserve one of those nods too. And that's not me going, my work. That's a guy's actor. Look, I'll distance myself further from it. I didn't direct that performance. You can't direct Michael Parks. What was I going to do? Go up to him and be like, hey, man, this is how I would have done it back in the day as Silent Bob. No, the dude's a brilliant actor. I literally would just say action. And when he was done, I'd be like, you done, Michael? He's like, yeah. I'd be like, all right, cut.
He was amazing.
He's fantastic.
He was fucking amazing.
I have no authorship for that performance. So I benefit not at all by saying that dude deserves a nod. And he didn't get a nod. The wonderful thing is we played at the Sitges Film Festival in Spain, which is the world's biggest genre festival. We didn't even go. The film won Best Picture and Michael won Best Actor.
That's right.
But still, he lives here in the United States, and he lives in fucking Hollywood. And nobody in that community wanted to, like, signal him out. And I, again, made it easy by distancing myself, going like, his work is his own. I had nothing to do with it. So even if you hate me and my shit, you could still pat this dude on the back. But he's used to it. He's had this whole career where he's getting kicked in the fucking teeth.
It's disgusting, the politics that go behind
this. Dude. It's sick. You'd think it's a meritocracy. You go like, hey, man, the best performance could win. And
I always
State proved to me that, no, the best performance might not even get noticed. And I'm not even saying win, dude, but come on.
Right.
5 nods, he should have been one of them.
I assume they would just do their job, get all the movies, and figure it out.
It doesn't work like
without
that.
all the politics.
It's its own business.
Unbelievable.
So I don't know. It'd be nice for him. I'm sad that.
Look,
he didn't
I'm
get
backing
nod.
up what you say. I mean, Michael Parks in Red State was ridiculously good.
$250,000. I just
That's
can't
amazing.
conscience that. We spent the whole movie not spending money putting it out. And then to run a campaign, like, it's going to cost that? I'm like, wait, can't just the dude's good work stand out there and speak for itself?
That's
whatever.
And it would almost feel...
I'm sure it's my fault at the end of the day. I'm sure it's like, we're punishing you for the fucking Red State.
But it would almost feel cheap, too, if you got it that way, right? If you had a,
Look, I got one more shot.
You had to run for it and spend all that money?
Totally. And then you're trying to buy it. We put him in Hit Somebody. I wrote him in a killer role and Hit Somebody, and hopefully that maybe he'll get noticed for that, because he's a wonderful monologue where he gets to shred the screen again.
You're getting close to filming that?
Hopefully June, July, yeah.
I feel like we've heard about this movie for a while.
Does he yell at me?
But that's what I got to do. Yeah. He doesn't yell at you.
Damn it,
But you'll be in the room with him while he gives like one of his speeches.
Oh, good.
And it's like, I'm not saying like, the speech in Miracle.
I never saw it.
the movie about hockey, the Herb
Brooks.
Brooks speech, where he's just like, tonight we are the greatest hockey team in the world. This is the opposite of that. This is a coach who's not inspirational. It's just like hockey is filled with hate.
Will you pan on Jim's face?
Yes, and
And
Jim will get nauseous.
I also mouth the other actors' dialogues.
Like that dude in E.T.
That's hilarious.
Yes. What is that?
I don't remember that. I don't remember that.
That is
If you
funny.
watch a scene in E.T. when they're all around, when Henry Thomas goes, nobody go out there. There's a little kid, I think C. Thomas Howell, sitting across from him who literally mouths his line and goes,
Yeah.
you can watch it. It's kind of weird.
That's so fucking funny.
Our favorite, though, is Back to the Future with the